Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. We have an update in the Bachelor Clayton paternity trial. Yes, that's right. There are updates, and it looks like they may be coming on for a long time. The lawyer for Clayton's accuser, Laura Owens, has, I guess, made a statement saying he wants to appeal the judge and the actual judicial process, which I'm taking that and interpreting that as a non-lawyer, as him wanting a retrial based on information he's going to present. So I'm going to share what that is with you guys. It's interesting. It's not salacious, and it's pretty meritless, but we'll get into it regardless right now. But first, I did want to address a call out yesterday. I was called out by a friend in Bachelor Nation, a alumni, in part or mainly because of my, objection that there hasn't been any sort of support from Bachelor alumni. Now, I'm going to ask people right now, the only way I can have this conversation is if people don't send this person hate. Don't send any hate. Just support what you want to support, and let's leave everything behind. And that's some advice I wish I gave myself. I've had a ton of bitterness, which has become evident to me. A lot of it was exposed last night after seeing this call out. But I'm not going to use that bitterness to fuel any sort of vitriol. I'm going to use it to just say, I can pledge to be better. If anyone wants to hear what the hell I'm talking about, I covered it for about 15 to 20 minutes on this morning's podcast, Bachelor Clayton's accuser wants a new judge, and responding to a Bachelor Nation call out. When I say I was called out, I was called out. And it's an interesting conversation. I think there's nuance, and I feel terrible about it all for a bunch of different reasons. Namely, I'm never trying to disappoint people. But I think if you want to hear more about kind of I hate to say parasocial, but the side stories of what happens when covering a case like this, I'm happy to talk about that, and you can go listen to it on the podcast. And again, there'll be a link in the comment section, or just search Dave Neal or Rush Hour Dave Neal, wherever you listen to podcasts. Okay, so people covered this story. Daily Mail, Us Weekly, just about everyone in that sort of realm has covered the story yesterday. The big news, which was that Clayton won, which is great news. But now we're finding out, and by the way, very rich what I'm about to share, and ironic, because now we're finding out that Laura Owens' attorney, of course, is saying they are going to appeal, but also that they wanted a new judge. So let's go to what he had to say. If we just search Gingras here, he is the man of the hour. Let's see. I spelled Gingras wrong. So if we look here, Laura Owens' lawyer, David Gingras, told People that his client plans to appeal the verdict, sharing in a statement, "We are also shocked the ruling came just hours after notifying Judge Mata of our intention to file a notice for change of judge for cause, citing suspected judicial misconduct." So what could this judicial misconduct be? I mean, wouldn't you normally have to have some evidence that there was, collusion between the judge or some sort of improper chain of command? Well, they go on to say the judge's father was present for the trial, which is not illegal by itself, but it raises very serious concerns regarding the judge's neutrality. The judge's father was seen socializing with the opposing side and commented that he was here for the shit show. This type of conduct is truly bizarre and worrying, the statement continued. In her findings of facts, Judge Mata acknowledged multiple positive persons. So then they go on to all the facts that we already know about. This is one of those things that maybe sounds, oh boy, but when you really break it down, Judge Mata's father is allowed to go to probably any trial that's open to the public. The public's allowed to see the judicial process play out. Now, if you have to ask me, I'm sure Judge Mata's father is a retired man, lives in the county, sees that his daughter's got a case going on, sees that it's super interesting, and wants to see how she handles it. I wouldn't be surprised by that. It's no different than a father wanting to go to their kid's Little League game. And as far as socializing with the opposing side, that's kind of the issue that's been going on a lot, right? Is that Laura Owens' attorney, David Gingras, says things like, oh, everyone's in this crazy cult. They're all against Laura. Well, the truth is they've all done their research, their real research here, and they've come to a conclusion that they believe Clayton and not her, and they were there to watch that play out. There were no one in court with signs. There was no heckling, even though Laura made it seem like there was a bunch of snickering. To be honest, I was told from people inside the courtroom that there was more snickering from employees of the court, the police officers. People were just laughing because I'm sure it was so salacious and so bizarre, as we have found out. So will anything happen from this? I don't believe so. I believe it only does damage because it's kind of one of those it's like if you lose in the Super Bowl and then the next day you're like, well, we believe that the refs were going to throw the game. Well, what evidence do you have? Well, the ref's father was in the audience. You know what I mean? And also, as it turns out, from what we've been told, the judge's father was in the spillover room. So there's an extra room where people can watch the trial play out that has no two-way communication with the judge. So there the judge is for 2 hours watching the trial and has no ability to communicate with her father or anything like that. The judge, I'm assuming, is a very smart person, very well respected to become a judge. And because of that, I think it's very interesting and infantile for Gingras to accuse her of this misconduct because it's like bringing a judge's name into things. Like you probably should have serious actual evidence if this is the case. Now, the reason why he knows this is two-part. It was after the hearing, someone came up to my live stream and said, Judge Mata's dad was in the courtroom. I talked to him, the spillover room, whatever the case, right? And then they said that, and whether they said it to me or Meg, to be quite honest, I don't remember. I have not deleted any of my content because I'm not going to try to hide any of it because hiding it would be more salacious than what was actually said. But we do have a response from Megan Fox, who was there with me. She said, "Let me be 100% clear. I never met Judge Mata's father. I heard second or third hand he was there, and I paraphrased what I heard from someone else, what he said. Gingras is quoting me, not Judge Mata's father. Further, he might have said it or he might have said nothing. But let's say he did. So what? The courtroom is open to the public. A judge's father is a member of the public, and if he had opinions about a case that made national news, so what? It was a shit show. And anyway, how does Gingras know he wasn't referring to the media circus outside and not the case itself? He could have been referring to us, or he could have not said anything of the kind, and someone exaggerated his remarks to me. I can't verify. I never saw the man. This argument is downright absurd. And good work quoting a YouTuber as being the voice of Judge Mata's father, you dummy. At least give me credit. Shit show is my words, my interpretation of what I heard, not a direct quote. Hashtag dumbass." Now look, would it be better if Judge Mata's father wasn't there? Because then someone in the audience would not have met him and not told the journalists. I mean, sure, on one level, but at the same thing, it should not interfere, and I cannot see how it will interfere with the ruling. It has nothing to do, and that's what the case is all about, right? Things that have nothing to do with the ruling being thrown out there as a circus show. We're going to see a lot of this. I've gotten a lot of warnings from people that in the coming weeks, we are going to see a lot of this, which honestly is rich because Gingras wrote a blog last week after the trial saying, all right, well, it's all said and done. We said what we needed to say. We presented our evidence. Clayton presented his. My advice is that everybody moves on. And he doesn't even give himself his own vacation before interjecting. He's, and again, I get it. I've been there. I was in the Maldives when I got sent my cease and desist. I didn't want to be in the Indian Ocean on an atoll in the most beautiful place in the world. Far more beautiful than the Mediterranean. Although I'm sure you're having a blast. But that cruise ship life, you got to love it. Everyone who's got diarrhea. I love a good cruise ship. Diarrhea. The food and the performances are all garbage. But hey, I do like a cruise. I got to say, Gingras, me and you, on a cruise, linen pants, doing the Cupid shuffle on the dance floor at night. Come on. But either way, I wish he would just practice what he preaches, which is moving on. Now, I'm not going to move on. I'm going to keep covering this case. It's going to be a possible appeal, which people are saying will most likely get thrown out right away. But the more, my alarm's going off. Time to wake up. I was supposed to wake up right now. I woke up early because my baby is my alarm clock. God bless him. We love him. I'm exhausted. So anyhow, the more interesting thing is what I'm going to share with you right now, which is the Maricopa County Attorney's Office is going to have a surprise. Councilman Jack Hastings is going to be there. The City of Surprise Councilman Jack Hastings is going to, oh my gosh, I've totally butchered this. Community conversations with the county attorney and Councilman Hastings. So the county attorney is Rachel Mitchell. Sounds like a nice lady. Never met her. Love the photo. Looks trustworthy. She's there. The Maricopa County tax dollars go towards her prosecuting the bad guys within the state, within the county. And she actually is on Twitter, and she is going to be joining for a live 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. City Hall event. Take some time to chat with County Attorney Rachel Mitchell and City of Surprise Councilman Jack Hastings to learn more about what is happening at the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. Now, let me be the first to say this. If there's ever a chance, and this isn't harassment, this is a meet and greet with your elected officials. If there's ever a chance to get to know people in your community, if there's ever a chance to bring a Clayton Echard Justice for Clayton sign or button and show support and say, this man was wronged. His character was diminished and other men have been, weaponized. And if you ever want to share any of that, this is the time to do it. So que surprise that it'll be this Saturday. I'm going to promote this more than I am just right now, but I think it would be very nice to hear from, 30, 40, 50 people. Imagine if everybody who attends that City Hall meet and greet is there to support the prosecution of someone who has committed perjury, medical fraud, impersonating black journalists, impersonating Asian doctors, impersonating Jewish agents, who am I forgetting here? So I think that would be a good use of people's time Saturday morning. If there's any leftover scones, please bring them to North Civic Center Plaza. So I wrote to Rachel Mitchell, hey, Rachel, I'm not a constituent, but I've been covering a case that is as wild as they come. I'm going to politely encourage my audience to get your attention regarding the Clayton Echard case. He was the bachelor. A lady faked a pregnancy to get him to date her. And then I go on, and I share all of the very basic evidences that I have. Fiverr logos, fake HCG test, ultrasounds, and people commented and tagged her in it. So what I'm asking you, my large audience right now, we'll have 10,000 people that watch this, is do me a favor, get on Twitter and hit the retweet button or tag her. Again, this isn't harassment. She's an elected official, and it might not seem like the biggest case in the world, but boy, is it a big case to those involved. And, justice should be served even if it's on an individual level. So what was interesting was Gingras replied to someone. They said, if the DA charges your client, will you represent her in that case too? He said, the DA isn't going to charge anyone. Now, maybe he said that because it's not the district attorney, it's the county's attorney. So maybe he said that on technicality. I'm not really sure. But Megan Fox responded, attorney for serial perjurer and evidence tamperer Laura Owens says Rachel Mitchell won't prosecute. Why does he think the county attorney is weak on felony perjury? Like I said, she's up for an election, Rachel Mitchell, and I think it would be, wise of people to say, look, if you want my vote, you have to earn it. And you have to work for me, the people. And you can do that by talking to her in person. I think Megan Fox and I will also do a letter writing campaign, so get your stamps ready. Do I have any other comments? I just was going to read some of the comments, but I think we're out of time. I was going to read some of the comments from people saying, dude, enjoy your vacation, get out of here, give it up. All of these comments that, just like, hey, it's done. The judge ruled, it's over. We know that that's not going to be the case, but we'll be here to continue to do our best to cover it and sadly face whatever collateral damage that comes from it. All right, folks, I'll be live. If you're watching this, I'm actually going live with Legal Vices, so go check that out, 9 a.m. Central Time. I'll also be live on Patreon afterwards and have other content coming your way, so stick around. And again, thank you so much for all the support. It means the world.